So we're going to find 5% of 600. And talk to the class after, tell them how you did it.
Okay, so what I did is after we got those numbers, I divided it by 10. So I got...
Show your little steps in case somebody later looks back and they need to know what you did.
10. And then after that, I divided it in half. And I got... So that's my answer.
Right. Good job. So add a sentence to these if you haven't already. 5% of 60 is what? Or 600 is? What is Thanos?
Actually, I did 5 times 600 and I didn't know that's what it is.
Okay. What number goes here? 5% of 600 is 30.
But I got the right answer.
There's different ways to do it. Do you want to tell me what you did? I can look at it later if you want. Let me look at it in a bit, and let's have somebody do number 2. Leah? So let's look at number 2. So a little bit louder. And one other thing, Leah, I'm going to just stop you real quick. When you guys use tables, because they're used for so many different things, put your labels in. Right? So we really want to have on each one of these tables what we're talking about. The top row is our percents. The bottom row is the total, whatever that percent totals. So she divided by 10. So your answer is 15%. Write out your answer. I'll get you another worksheet. Do you have any questions for Leah? Anybody? Are these questions you guys put your hands up, or are you wanting to do one? What's your question? Yeah, Nathan. Not right now. Hannah? Yes. Roman, do you have a question?
No.
You could do one too. So Hannah, do number... So Roman, you want to do number 3? Okay.
So what I did was instead of I had 75, and then I did 20. I divided it by 5.
Okay, so same thing. I'm going to stop you for a minute. Remember, every time you do a problem, label.
Okay.
Right? Label what you're doing so people know what it all means.
Okay. And then I did. So then I got
20% of 75.
yeah. Yeah. Yes. And so I got 15.
Right.
And then I divided by 2. And I got 10 and 7.5.
Good.
It's a little, I should have done it a different way, but I
No.
just did it like this.
It works.
And then I divided by 2. I got 5.75.
Okay, stop there for a minute, because that's correct, but for some people that's hard, right? So remember, if you're gonna divide 7.5, think of it as $7.50. That, even though it's no different, it might make it a little bit easier for you guys, because you do well with money. Half of $7 is $3.50, and half of 50 cents is 25. So even though Roman maybe did that in his head, maybe not everybody's ready to do that in their head. You guys correct in your work? It needs to keep paying attention. So keep going.
And then I just added them together.
What did you add together? Circle what you added together. Columns. Yep.
There's
10% and 5% make 15%.
15%, and then that makes 7 plus 3 is 11, and then 50 plus 75 is 1.2, so it's just, I mean 1.25 instead of 22.
Good. Zoe, you want to do one? How about 5? Oh, Hannah, did you come up already? You're going to do 4? Come on up.
So, for an easy way, just divide
Look
by
at what you wrote. Look at what you wrote. But it's 110.
10. So,
Try again. There we go.
it's one step from 4. So then it's just divided by 10, and then 10 and 11. And
That's 10%, right? Right. So 20% of 110. Is 22. Good. Zoe, number 5. You want to do a next? Sure.
So, I started out with 100. Oh. And then to get to 20, I did divide by 5. And 100 divided by 5 is 20. And 85 divided by 5 is 17. So 20% of 85 is 17.
Okay. Write that down. For some of you, that might have been a harder division. But she's correct. You might consider going to 10 if you don't know your facts real quick, even though you have a decimal. But it's also good to practice dividing any number by 10. If I want to divide 85 by 10, I could always remember that 80 divided by 10 is 8. 90 divided by 10 is 9. So 85 divided by 10 has got to be halfway in the middle, 8.5, or the decimal just moves. So that's a good thing to practice. And I have 10% and I can double. And when you double, you get 17. Luckily, Zoe knew her 5 facts really quick, so she didn't need to do that, but you could. Okay. Does that make sense? Ian, you're gonna do 7. I think it was a different problem, right?
Yeah, 25.
25. So before you do that, I'm wondering, how could you do this without going to 10? Does anybody have another strategy? Somebody new? Same old cast of characters. What about the rest of you? Courtney? You could divide by 2 and go to 50%, right? That's a good idea. It's not the only idea. And you would get 45, and you could divide by 2 again. Grace?
Say what I did, I just divided by
And you did it in your head? You didn't have to do long division off to the side?
I did long division off to the side.
Yeah.
But that doesn't no longer need it. Like,
Which is fine. You get there. You get there. That's right. So dividing 45, what's half of 40? That's half of 5. So half of 45 is 22.5. Try not to do too much long division off the side. But you can do some. So 25% of 90 is 22.5. Ian. Let's do this last one.
so if I did it a different way,
That's what I was hoping. So we see
I
2
put-
different ways to do 25%.
I
Oh,
put
right.
25 here and 100 on the bottom.
Okay, so before you do this, you guys have to realize this goes back to there's so many ways to do problems. If you are just catching on to the ratio table, I would watch this, but I wouldn't write it down because trying 2 new things at once could be confusing.
And I tried
And
to
let's-
get the bottom 100 to 110. So I times it by 1.1 because 1/10 of 100 is 10 and 1 of 100 is 100. So I times
25 by 1.1?
Yeah.
It's not incorrect.
I got
What he's doing.
27.5. Because 1/10 of 25 is 2.5, and one of it is 25, and that added together is 27.5.
Okay, such an interesting thing here. So 25% of 110 is 27.5, but we wouldn't say it's 27.5%. And Ian, what you've done is right, but for most people, that's very hard to figure out what to do in your head. I mean, I'm seeing big guys like, wow, how did he get the right answer when it looks like he did it wrong? He didn't do it wrong, but he's got some really good mental math skills that he was able to see that he can multiply by 100 by 1.1 and get 110. So it's correct. I'm going to erase it, and we're going to check his work with the other method. Does that make sense? We okay with that? So you have to be super good with the mental math to do that. Most people, even as adults, cannot do that. Most people don't do it that way. We as people don't all have that ability to kind of like pick the right number. Okay, so Melina, what'd you do? You want to come up here? And this was 25%, right? On your worksheet?
Yeah.
Did you start with 100%? Yeah. Okay. Now let's check Ian's work. Okay, we'll see if you're right. What's another way to get to 25%?
So first one I did was divided by 10. So that's 11. And then I divided it by 2. Which is 5 and 5. And then we're trying to get to 25, so I need that 5 times 5 is 25. So I weigh times 20.
So she got the same answer. Okay. Now I'm going to erase part of Elena's. They're both good, you guys. And ask if anybody went to 20%. So Melena's worked beautifully. If that was a test, it's 100%. Ian's worked well too. It was 100%. I'm erasing it so we can look at one more method, not because there was anything wrong there. What about getting to 20? I think for some of you that's easier. Roman.
I do that.
Yeah. And what would you have down here?
You have 22.
Well, you'd have 22. And then you just use the old add the columns. 25% is 22 plus 5.5, which is 27.5. Okay? That was the 7th one. Bailey.
Oh, this is the right way? Yeah, I did know later.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So the other way that Bailey did, I think she went to 50%, right? You could also go to 50%. So we'll do one more. Now I'm erasing my work too. And we'll go with Bailey's idea. And then we'll stop.
What I did was I divided it by 2 to get 50 and then 55. And then I divided it by 2 again and got 25 right here and then 27.5 right there.
Good. Nice job, you guys. What's your